Okay, let's all rise for a moment of personal reflection. Thank you. May I ask Councillor Gardner to lead us in the national anthem?
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' command. Car ton bras sait porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Merci. We acknowledge that we are gathering on the traditional territory of the Mohawk people of Akwesasne. Roll call.
Mayor Bernadette Clément.
Présente.
Councillors Claude McIntosh. Elaine McDonald.
Present.
Sid Gardner.
Here.
Dean Hollingsworth.
Present.
Cataline Hébert.
Is out.
Councillors Glenn Grant.
Present.
Todd Bennett.
Present.
Justin Towndale.
Present.
Éric Bergeron.
Present.
And Councillor Maurice Dupel has called in his regrets.
Thank you. Additions, deletions, or amendments?
I have a few, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
We have amendments and additions. We have an amendment to bylaw 2019-55 in that section 56 of the Act has been actually changed to the actual act, section 58. We have an amendment on bylaw 2019-56. The fees for the Boach Lot parking lot has been added to the bylaw. We have an addition of bylaw 59, which authorizes the city to purchase 127 Fennel Crescent for the construction of new sewage pumping station. We also have the addition of bylaw 60, which authorizes the city to enter into a contract with Bell Canada for the Bell Total Connect, which means that our confirming bylaw is now number 61.
Adoption of the agenda. Councillor Grant, Councillor Bennett. Any debate, questions? All in favor? Carried. Any disclosure of interest?
I have one.
Councillor Bennett.
I would ask that bylaw 2019-54 be voted on separately, as I have a conflict with the property.
And the general nature of the conflict, Councillor
The
Bennett?
property that we're talking about possibly putting up for sale backs onto my property.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to go into committee of the whole. Councillor Hébert, Councillor Bennett, all in favor? Adoption of the minutes for the meeting of April 23rd, 2019. Councillor Elaine McDonald, Councillor Justin Towndale, any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. I just want to let you know that the grade 10 class of Mr. Chevrier from St. Joe's Secondary School was here this morning, sitting in your seats, and the future looks bright, so it's all good. Our camera guy was here, actually, sitting in, I think it was Councillor DePel's seat, and he had the best questions of all, I think. So I can tell that you attend council meetings, so thank you for that. And thank you to Mr. Chevrier's class and Mr. Chevrier, it was really good. All right, presentations. Book of Recognition. Madam Clerk.
We have with us this evening Emily Valance, who is the women's kickboxing national champion, who went up to Niagara Falls and won the 56-kilogram division after moving up from the junior ranks. So we have invited her to sign the Book of Recognition.
Yes.
Do I sit down or do I stand up?
Ms. Valance,
Yes,
we are very impressed by you.
thank you.
So, do you have a few words to say? Can you tell us about, what your goals are, what the next step is? Explain a little bit about what you won, because this is really a big deal.
Thanks. Okay, so the next steps would probably be to decide whether I want to turn pro or not, and to decide if I want to continue in kickboxing or in MMA.
Okay. So, what title did you actually receive?
So I just received the Open Women's Division minus 54 kilograms national champion.
Okay. Wow. And how old are you?
I just turned 18.
And who did you defeat?
A world champion, Farina Lari.
And
She's
how-
she is 31 years old.
Yeah. Impressive.
Thank you.
Okay, are you okay to answer questions?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. Go ahead. Okay, Councillor Grant.
What got you interested in kickboxing? It's-
Okay, so I first started out in hockey, and I needed a summer sport, so I got into kung fu, which led to kickboxing. So, yeah, and then it just became competitive.
So from hockey,
Hockey to-
non-violent sport.
Councillor Gardner.
First of all, through you, congratulations.
Thank you.
I was wondering whether there was an Olympic goal or there was the games included your sport.
So
And would you
unfortunate-
look forward to
Yeah.
going?
So unfortunately, there's no kickboxing in the Olympics. There's judo, there's boxing, and taekwondo, but there's no kickboxing, unfortunately. But if there was, I'd definitely be down.
Okay, we'll see if we can get it in for you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
'Cause you'd make us proud. Thank you.
Thank you. That's true.
Tu es étudiante à l'héritage, hein?
Oui.
Okay, so ils doivent être tellement fiers de toi. Do you have family members here?
I do. I have my mom, my dad, and my little brother.
Can they just stand up? Congratulations. Thank you, Emily. We wish you great success. And wherever you go, please speak highly of Cornwall
Oh, for sure.
and always come back.
Always.
Okay.
Always. I'm actually staying in Cornwall for business.
Ah, c'est parfait. On aime entendre ça. Félicitations.
Thank you. And before I go, I'd just like to say that it's always an honor to compete for Cornwall, and it's awesome to know that you guys support me in return. So.
Wow. Thank you. Best way to start a council meeting, eh? Thank you. Madam Clerk.
With us this evening, the Cornwall Centre Community Lot and St. Andrews Commuter Lot. And with us this evening is Angelo Renan, Managing Principal of Transportation Stantec. Oh, and he brought someone with him. Perhaps he'll introduce her.
We'll ask him to. Bienvenue, Monsieur Renaud.
Bienvenue, merci. Good
Okay.
evening, everyone,
This is a great
council,
idea.
staff, and residents. I'm here with, I'm Angelo Renan. I'm a principal at Stantec. I'm the project manager for this project, consultant project manager. I'm here with Giselle Cotton from the Ministry of Transportation and John Hanna from the Ministry of Transportation also.
Okay.
We're here to present two commuter parking lots on Highway 138. There's a little PowerPoint. I'm not sure if that's going to launch. As part of the agenda, we're going to talk about the study area, study purpose, environmental assessment process, consultation, alternatives, recommended plans, as well as the next steps. So the two study areas, the first one, which is on the left diagram, is located 1 kilometer north of St. Andrews West on Highway 138. It's on the east side of the road. And the second commuter lot is located on the north section of the intersection of Brookdale Avenue and Cornwall Centre Road. So the purpose of the detailed design study is to design two commuter parking lots on sites that were identified during the Highway 138 preliminary design study that was cleared last May 2018. So the preliminary design study in Class EA was completed for the operational and safety improvements to approximately 35 kilometers of Highway 138, stretching from Highway 417 in the north to Highway 401 in the south, and located in the city of Cornwall and the townships of North and South Stormont. So the purpose of the study was to identify a recommended plan for improvements as part of the ministry's ongoing review of safety and operational needs for their provincial highway network. And the recommended plan identified two potential locations for these lots within the project limits. The first one is the St. Andrews one that we just had on the map, and the second one is the one at the intersection of Brookdale Avenue and Cornwall Center Road. So the environmental assessment process. So these two studies were basically followed the requirements of a class environmental assessment for provincial transportation facilities, and the scope fell under a Group B schedule. Okay, so as part of the consultation process, we put out the notice of study commencements early last November, 2018. We held an online PIC, a Public Information Center, which lasted from December 5th, 2018 until January 4th, 2019. And as part of the online PIC, we presented the different alternatives that were developed, the evaluation of the alternatives, as well as the recommended plan. So we are currently, at this stage, we're at the detailed design stage, completing of the recommended plans. And next step is completion and posting of the design and construction report, as well as the 30-day public review period, which is going to occur this spring, early summer. So as part of the consultation, we reached out to a number of agencies and stakeholders, and quite a lengthy list there, everybody from municipalities to ministries, so United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, the townships, South Stormont, North Stormont, the City of Cornwall, Indigenous communities, various ministries, including Natural Resources and Forestry, Tourism, Culture, and Sport, and the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation, and Parks. We also contacted emergency services providers, snowmobile associations, transportation bus service providers in the area, chambers of commerce for South Stormont and the City of Cornwall, school boards, as well as the Raisin River Conservation Authority. So the first site we're looking at is the St. Andrews site. So some of the key features of the site include 28 standard parking spaces. It has also 3 barrier-free parking spaces, 1 van space, and the parking lot is fully illuminated and includes bilingual signage. There is also a bus loop that is part of this commuter lot. So I'll go through a few alternatives that were developed. So alternative 1 was located at the north end of the property. It includes an entrance to the south that's an in and out, as well as an exit at the north, which is a buses only exit. Alternative number 2 is also located at the north end. It has 1 entrance, in and out, and it has a full turning bus loop. And alternative 3 is located with the entrance a little to the south, but it's centrally located within the property. And this alternative was basically the recommended plan. It was the one that scored the highest in the evaluation. The Brookdale site, it has 65 standard parking spaces, 4 barrier-free parking spaces, and 2 van spaces. Again, the commuter lot is fully illuminated, and it has bilingual signs, and it also includes a bus loop. So there's a number of alternatives that were developed and evaluated. Alternative 1 includes the bus loop on the north end, and the parking lot's located a little bit to the south and east of the lot. Alternative number 2 is located, the lot includes a big loop for the buses. It's located a little bit to the north and central of the property. Again, the main entrance lines up with Brookdale Avenue on all of these alternatives. Alternative number 3 is located again towards the top of the property with the big loop. And alternative number 4 is a bit more centrally located with the bus loop kind of to the west of the main entrance, a little bit separated. But there's a buffer on the east as well as the north side of the property. Alternative number 4 was selected as the recommended plan and carried forward to detail design. As part of this recommended plan, we've also included a landscaping plan. It includes coniferous and deciduous trees that line the east and north section of the lot, as you can see on the diagram above. So both of these locations are on property entirely owned by MTO, so there was no property acquisition required as part of the design phase. Next steps, so we're in the process of finalizing the recommended plan through detailed design. A design and construction report will be issued shortly with a 30-day public review period. Again, that'll be in the spring, early summer this year. And we anticipate construction by the fall of 2019 this year. Any questions?
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. I'm curious, when you mentioned the bus consultations, do you include Cornwall Transit in that? Because I'm just wondering,
Yes.
north of St. Andrews, even you had a bus, so you're talking some private buses too?
Private buses as well as Greyhound and the Cornwall bus line.
Cornwall Transit, okay. Thank you.
Councillor Grant.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The security at these lots will just be lights, is that it? Or will there be cameras or?
No, just simply lights.
Yes. And who pays for the lots, development of these lots? Minister?
The construction of the lots is paid by the Ministry of Transportation.
Good, okay, thank you.
Councillor Ibaya.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. I'm glad to hear that you're consulting with Cornwall Transit as well. I know we're probably not close to this phase yet, but it'd be interesting to see if we'd be able to bring our buses all the way up to this bus loop, because I know we don't really have much transit service in that area, and would add some connectivity to from our residents to the outside world. And so I'm hoping that going forward that the city and our transit department continues those conversations and potentially plans for additional bus stops. Thank you.
Count on you, Councillor Bell, to raise that again for follow-up.
Yeah.
Sure. Councillor McIntosh.
Thank you. When we develop these plans, do we try to find out how many people commute between Cornwall and Ottawa? Is that what the parking lots are based on, size? Do we have any idea how many?
We know there's a need, general numbers. We don't have any exact studies identifying it, but we know there's a number of people that commute back and forth. There's the bus lines also, and it's more of a safety issue on our highways. It also, building these lots provides opportunities to reduce traffic, congestion, and people that might be stopping, like in St. Andrews, parking in the parking lot by the
just
church
impact
and
the
on the
parking
road
lot
a little
there.
bit,
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a safety
Okay,
issue
so
primarily.
there's obviously a number of people driving back and forth.
Yes.
The Councillor Grant referred to the cost of building them. Who maintains them?
The Ministry of Transportation.
Plowing and okay, sounds good.
Councillor Hollingsworth.
Thank you, Your Worship. Forgive me, I'm going to probably ask some questions that everybody else in the room knows the answer to, but I don't. So the rationale, of course, is we build these parking lots, therefore reducing the amount of cars on 138. Is that, and thereby hopefully improving safety? Is that how this is supposed to be?
No, it's one of the goals. There is a need throughout most communities in Ontario for ride sharing, carpooling, and as part of the study, it was one of the aspects that was looked at, identifying locations where we can construct these before development takes over a little bit more, and there's less opportunity to build these.
Right. Fair enough. So that being said, I pull up to this place, I park my car, and I'm hoping to meet somebody else who's driving to about the same place. Is that, like I'm meeting here to carpool? Is that how this works? Or am I hoping to catch a bus, or how does
Well,
this work?
there's people that typically other commuter lots, people we might be working with somebody in the same office, they're going to the same locations generally, or from the same neighborhood, and they'll say, let's share the drive-in, I'll meet you at the carpool lot, leave one vehicle there, and then
Right.
they're off on their way.
How many cars do we think, how many fewer cars, based on what your studies, how many fewer cars do you anticipate being on the Highway 138 at any one time? Let's say, I'm assuming, let's take a number, at 7 o'clock in the morning, most people are driving to work, maybe commuting to Ottawa or whatever the case may be. So realistically speaking, how many fewer cars are we hoping will be on the highway?
Well, I think the goal is primarily to reduce the number of cars that have a single person in it,
Fair enough?
and reducing our greenhouse gases and our impacts, environmental impacts. The safety component is there because it reduces the number of vehicles on the road. It's not a huge dent in the traffic volumes, but it does help. It reduces, people that might be stopping on the side of the road to switch cars. It provides them a safe location
Right?
to carpool,
And
relatively close to the city.
Sorry, and ultimately, this study was initiated by MTO, or did somebody say to MTO, wouldn't it be nice if you studied this, or just MTO thought we should see if we can do something?
Well, this was part of the preliminary design that was done for the whole corridor of 138. Ministry undertakes regularly reviews of their operational and safety needs for all their highways. And this was a component that was considered it's one of the main components. Well, one of a number of components of the
Gonna say,
preliminary design study.
Are there other phases then that are gonna take place, or is this kind of, we're gonna do this and we'll get back, or we'll do something else later, or is this like part of a master plan by MTO?
Can you talk about that?
So, yeah, as part of the whole study of 138, this was like our first phase.
Right.
And so right now that we've had the budget come down from the province, now our region is looking at prioritizing the projects, and then what we'd like to see then is then other phases go
Like
through.
4 lanes of
Yeah.
driving, maybe?
So it would be based on the preliminary design recommended plan, and then they would prioritize based on safety or operational needs.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Councillor Bennett?
I'm good. All three of my questions were asked by colleagues, so I'm covered, thanks.
There you go. Councillor Gardner?
Well, I'm going to get up and say thank you, because a number of years ago, MTO came to this table and told us that there weren't enough deaths on the 138 or fatalities to warrant widening the 138. This is going to eliminate a lot of traffic. I do Castleman, Ottawa often on the 138, and it's so bad now, the traffic, that I go through the Avonmore Road through the back way. So thank you for finally acknowledging that we have a problem here and doing something about it. I much appreciate that.
Any other questions? I have just two. Just going back to your consultation process, what was the feedback exactly? Was there any negative feedback, neighbors, anything stand out? Did you get a lot of feedback or no, not much, or?
On the commuter lots you're talking
Yes,
about? Yeah,
yes.
we did get some feedback. There was some concerns about noise and lighting, and there was some, I guess, misinterpretations of the plans. They thought there'd be a safety issue. But typically, these lots are quite safe with the lighting. They're visible. That was primarily most of the comments we received, right?
Yeah, I think some other ones, maybe like for the usage, they were asking what they'd be used for, or how do we see them being used? So we explained that we see commuter buses potentially stopping there, or folks meeting there and carpooling, that sort of thing.
So more curiosity rather than concern in terms of the comments?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is, just going back to what Councillor Hollingsworth was talking about in terms of how people use them. So does this just happen organically, or does the ministry do something to say, okay, we're publicizing the location of the lots, we're facilitating matching between riders and people who are commuting? Do you know what I mean? Like to try and, or does it just sort of, you build it, and you hope they come? Or are we organized about trying to get people to understand that they're there and trying to help match people up?
Well, I think once we build it, we put the appropriate signs up on the highway and around 138, so local residents know and anybody traveling through. Also, it would be on our websites, so like something like 511, Ontario 511, that sort of thing. We would be able to show the location of those new parking locations. So, but I think in general it would happen organically in the sense that people would find the lots and start using them.
Okay. I'm just wondering, like throwing it out there in case people don't know how to, don't know what's going on or how to match up with a rider that's somebody who commutes. Do you know, sometimes we don't always know
Don't realize
what
it.
other people are doing, yeah.
And also, as part of our consultation, we do add mail to the residents throughout, certain postal codes so that they're aware of the project that it's coming. So we hope that helps folks realize that we are in fact building this. We'll be doing another mail out with the design and construction report to let folks know that, we have this document for review, but then that also, I think, helps folks know that, again, this is coming and that we are building it and they will be able to use it once it's constructed.
Okay. Just putting it out there, our public information coordinator may want to keep an eye on how that's organically happening so that we can make sure that it does, right? Okay. Oh, somebody wants to make a comment. Are you with? Okay.
We're talking consultation. Excuse me. I just wanted to point out, so when we do our studies, there's a preliminary study. There's extensive consultation. We work closely with municipal staff. We have public information centers. So some of these things with the commuter parking lots are the public coming forward saying, why don't you look at, when you're doing improvements along here, we really need an expansion, or we really need a commuter parking lot. So a lot of that is between consultation with stakeholders such as the municipalities, the public, and so forth. So some of that, it's not just MTO saying, hey, we should put a parking lot here. We listen to what the public has to say, right? So that's important part, because who knows better than the folks like yourself that are traveling on the highway every day. And so there's a fair amount of consultation, holding meetings with municipal staff. We've talked about meetings with different, the bus lines and stuff like that. So we can pool all that information so that we're making the right decisions and the public has an input, and municipalities on the decisions that we move forward with, right? So, and this is the result of what you're seeing. And the preliminary design selected the site areas. The detailed design is working at the details on those lots essentially and taking information. But we've had some pretty extensive consultation, and overall, I would say the majority has been very much appreciative of the fact that it's a positive thing that we're getting these commuter lots. So I just wanted to add that part, that it's not just us working in a bubble. We really reach out to the public, to different agencies and stuff, and that's what helps us generate our alternatives and tweak them and stuff. So anyway, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for allowing me to speak a second time.
Sure.
I just want to say, I don't know how many people have called me over the years, less and less lately, but we used to have regular bus service between Cornwall and Ottawa, and when we lost it, a lot of people are really hurt. University students who would rather live at home and spare themselves the expense of renting in Ottawa, for example. And my gosh, you have no idea how many people do medical appointments. It seems like our medical system is on the long distance basis now. And just having this well publicized, I think, is going to be really key. So I guess that's up to our public information officer, but publicizing this, I hope it'll grow, and you'll have to expand that lot before too long. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next steps are you'll keep in touch with us. Is that in terms of the next, what you do for the next one?
The design and construction report will be posted
Okay.
for a 30-day public review period, and I'll have the details of the detailed design. And then we'll be going off to construction in the fall.
Okay. Do you come back to council at all, or?
No, we don't.
Okay. All right. Just keep us posted. Thank you. All right, I think we need a motion to receive the presentation. Councillor Bennett, seconded by Councillor Ibaya. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much for the presentation. Madam Clerk?
On to the consent items. Our first item is PAC Report Number 1, Proposed Modifications to the Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw. The action recommended is that council approve the housekeeping items contained in Section E, evaluation of the housekeeping number 727 report, in particular A, modifications of definitions, introduction of a new definition for cannabis and cannabis production and processing facility, B, textual modifications, location criteria for medical marijuana production facilities and home occupation standards, and C, schedule change to correct the zoning at 1411 Street West from residential 20 to commercial 51. Item 2, PAC Report Number 2, condominium conversion at 108 2nd Street East, the Knox City Center. The recommendation is that council endorse the PAC recommendation as presented, that the application dated February 26 from Knox City Center to convert the mixed-use apartment building into condominium units at 108 2nd Street East, legally described as part of Lot 11 and 12, south side of 2nd Street, Concession 1, be given approval in principle, subject to the draft plan conditions contained in Appendix A to this technical report, and 2, that upon final condominium drawings being prepared by an Ontario land surveyor and being reviewed and confirmed, final approval be granted to the plan of condominium. We have a few proclamations. The first one, the action recommended is that council proclaim the week of May 19th to 25th, 2019 as National Public Works Week in the City of Cornwall. Item 4, with a recommendation that council proclaim Saturday, May 25th, 2019 as National Day of Missing Children in the City of Cornwall. Our next one is recommended that council proclaim the week of May 27th to June 2nd as Accessibility Awareness Week in the City of Cornwall. Item 6 is the Code of Conduct required changes, and we are presenting this report this evening so that council can receive this report. And our last item, flag raising for Diversity Cornwall, with a recommendation that council approve the raising of the diversity flag at the Clock Tower in Lamoureux Park from May 14th to 17th.
Motion? Councillor Hébert, seconded by Councillor Grant. Comments? Yes?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know I didn't pull any item out of consent, but this is more generic. We do a lot of flag raisings, of course, to celebrate many things happening in our city. And the Justice Building's front yard will be in construction mode for the next several weeks, I assume. I'm wondering if we'll still have access to the flag for those celebrations.
So Madam Clerk can deal with that.
Through you, Madam Mayor, it will not. It will be affected. So for small ceremonies, we will host in front of City Hall to a maximum of maybe 10 people because it's just really the sidewalk. Anything bigger than that, we'll try to accommodate at the Civic Complex, whether the Clock Tower or right in front of the Civic Complex.
Okay, and we'll put the flag in front of City Hall?
We do have a flag
Yes.
pole at City Hall, so for a flag raising that has a small event, we will conduct it here. So all the requests come through council, and at that point, we will write a report outlining which is the best suitable area for that event.
Excellent. Thank you.
On the issue of the Code of Conduct, that's coming back to us, right, Madam Seah?
Correct, Madam Mayor.
So we're receiving it, and then it'll come back for further discussion. Just want to say, oh, Councillor McIntosh?
Could I ask one question?
Yes, you can.
Are we going to have the commissioner come visit us, our integrity commission?
Madam CEO?
Through you, Madam Mayor, what we'd like to do is we'd like to first get the changes required in the Code of Conduct. So we've provided a new Code of Conduct to council on this evening's agenda. Once that Code of Conduct is approved, we will host a special council meeting. It will be a public meeting, open to the public. And the Integrity Commissioner will come in and walk council through that Code of Conduct in greater detail.
This is the commissioner we hired?
Yes, and so it would be Mr. Tony Fleming. And I think really he would spend, quite a bit of time as well on areas of conflict of interest, because there have been significant changes in the Municipal Act where councillors need to declare and actually provide their declaration in writing.
Okay, that's great,
So-
because I've got a lot of questions.
That'll come following
Good.
the approval of the
That
Code of
sounds
Conduct.
great.
Councillor Gardner?
Just to follow up on that booklet we were given, Code of Conduct, the small booklet, is that going to change, or are we going to get another booklet, or how's that going to work?
Madam CEO?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think you may be referring to our first code of conduct that was approved in 2014. It's being completely replaced. So as part of the report this evening, that one's going away and the new one's taken over.
That's one that was given
Yes,
this election.
that's correct.
Okay. I gotta do shredder for that.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. Just want to highlight that Mr. Jean Bédard is in the audience for National Day of Missing Children, so thank you for being here. Madam Clerk?
We have Resolution 2019-07, recommending that the application dated February 26, 2019, from Knox City Center to convert the mixed-use apartment building into condominium units at 108 2nd Street East be given approval in principle subject to the draft plan conditions contained in Appendix A to this technical report, and 2, that upon final condominium drawings being prepared by an Ontario land surveyor and being reviewed and confirmed, final approval will be granted to the plan of condominium.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Towndale. Any discussion, debate? All in favor? Carried.
We have no unfinished business reports this evening, so we will move on to communications reports. Item 1, one-time operating grant, domiciliary program. The action recommended is that council approve the distribution of approximately $140,000 as an operating grant to domiciliary providers on a one-time basis for 2018-2019 year.
Somebody want to move that? Councillor Grant, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Discussion? Questions? Ms. Ferguson is here.
It's self-explanatory.
I have a question. So, who will feel the direct benefit of this?
To you, Madam Mayor. So this will directly go to the domiciliary providers. So they will typically, historically, we cannot increase the amounts that we pay for the per diems to these domiciliary providers, even though their costs increase year over year. So this will assist them in their daily operations at the end of the fiscal year.
So is it a surprise that this amount of money is remaining or sort of left to be distributed, or is
So-
this usual?
Well, it's challenging for us to predict what the uptake will be on our Chippy program throughout the year. So we budget what we anticipate based on the people that are currently in the domiciliary at the time that we submit our budget to the province. So people pay varying rates, whether they're a senior on a pension or if they're in receipt of Ontario Works or ODSP. So if one person moves out that pays more money versus someone who pays less, that will change the amounts that we flow to the domiciliary rather than what we expected to happen. So every year we will anticipate a little bit of an ebb and flow at the end of the year.
Okay. So this amount is not unusual?
Not unusual, no. The budget is over $2 million that goes toward the domiciliary, so this is a fairly small amount in terms of those funds, and they are 100% provincial funds. So if we don't allocate these to the providers, we will return the funds.
Right. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Oh, sorry. Councillor McDonald?
Just
Sorry.
a brief question. I'm wondering, what is the per diem? Is it set in all the domiciliary?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the per diems are set, and we also have to give the clients a personal needs allowance, so they don't pay all of their dollars to the domiciliary.
Okay. And what is the per diem?
It's about $150 per month right now.
Thank you.
Councillor Bergeron?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you- If I may, since we're on TV and there's a lot of people watching, thousands of people are watching. If someone is homeless in Cornwall, how does this program help them? And how do they get in touch with the programs to get off the street and into the services that you provide?
Thank you for that, through you, Madam Mayor. So this program, you have to be financially eligible as well as medically eligible. So you would require the assistance for your daily activities. So whether that be you need help with your medication, you have a cognitive disability, you have a physical disability. So if you are homeless, and you meet those criterias as well as the financial eligibility, that you can make an application through the housing department on the 3rd floor at the Justice Building. And we have a very short waiting list. It's under 1 month. So we do have these extra dollars, so it does allow some flexibility in our programming. But you do have to meet the financial as well as the medical, as well as the suitability of the program. Second to that, if you do find yourself homeless, you can go to the Cornwall Police. They can also do a referral directly to Riverview, as well as through the hospital. If you are homeless, you can go to them. And if it's on a weekend, they can put you into one of those places over the weekend until we open on the Monday, and then we can do an assessment.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question. All in favor? Carried.
First quarter financial report for 2019. The action recommended is that council receive the first quarter financial report for the period ending March 31st, 2019.
Councillor McIntosh, seconded by Councillor Grant. Questions? Councillor McIntosh.
Through you, Madam Clerk, or Mayor, to CFO, reducing your status. Regarding the Progress Fund, the only money we've taken out of that fund in the last, since it started, or at least the last 10 years, has been the interest earned, and it's gone towards the Benson Center. Is that correct?
Through you, Madam Mayor,
You have not dipped into the principal.
we have not taken
Ever.
anything for the principal
Ever taken
ever.
out $1.5 million to cover anything?
No.
Good. Okay.
And so since 2000, let me see, the Benson Center, I think it's about 2012, we started using the Benson Center,
Yeah.
the Progress Fund for the Benson
And
Center.
that's the way it's always been.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor? Carried.
Moving on to tenders. Tender 19T37, supply and delivery of landing craft. Recommendation is that this tender be awarded to 799200 Ontario Incorporated, carrying on business as Stanley Boats and Connor Industries from Parry Sound at the total bid price of $109,011.10.
Moved by Councillor Towndale, seconded by Councillor Ibaya. Councillor Towndale.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think the title needs a bit of clarification. I read the detail in there, but I'm hoping the fire chief will explain what this is for. Because it sounds like we're gonna storm the beaches of Normandy with this, so.
Bill Leader.
Absolutely, thank you. This is in reference to a budget item which essentially is a rescue boat. However, because of the type of boat that we're purchasing, it has an opening to the front, not unlike what the military uses, but because of that, they're called landing crafts.
Thank you. So I
Beaches of Normandy, so lyrical. I like it.
Army surplus.
All in favor? Carried.
Tender 19T41, supply and delivery of sodium hypochlorite. The recommendation is this tender be awarded to UBA Incorporated from Vaudreuil-Dorion at the total bid price of $139,217.13 for a 3-year period commencing July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2022, with an option to renew for an additional year, being the best bid.
Moved by Councillor Gardner, seconded by Councillor Grant. Questions? All in favor? Carried.
Purchase of waste and recycle carts for ICI and multi-residential buildings, recommending that council approve the purchase of waste and recycling carts from Innovative Plastic Leaders from Saint-Damien de Baclin through the Continuous Improvement Fund Cooperative Container Procurement Program.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Ibaya. Comments, questions? All in favor? Carried.
Request for proposal 19P03, Engineering Consultants, Environmental Monitoring Services for waste disposal sites and snow management facilities. Recommended that this RFP be awarded to WSP Canada Incorporated from Cornwall at the total bid price of $216,331.85 for a term for 3 years effective May 1st, 2019, with the option to renew for 2 additional one-year extensions.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, Councillor Grant. Questions, comments? All in favor? Carried.
So we're going to be moving on to the bylaws. So we're looking for the first motion for the bylaws listed on the agenda, with the exception of bylaw 54. So that bylaws 2019-51 to 2053 and 2019-55 to 60 listed on the agenda be taken as read and passed.
Moved by Councillor Hollingsworth, seconded by Councillor Bennett. Discussion? All in favor? Carried.
And we're looking for a separate motion for bylaw 54, which is a bylaw to declare property as surplus to the needs of the municipality legally described as lots 10, 11, 13, 14, 17, and 18, Marguerite Duville.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Grant. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this isn't with regard to this bylaw, but it's bylaw 057,
Okay.
which was a part of the package, of all the bylaws.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a long time coming, and it's very welcome that we have this rowing club, a place for the rowing club to set up operations. And I notice it's for 3 years, and I would hope that at the end of 3 years, they're able to move into town, into some of the seaway lands that are closer to the heart of downtown, because I think this is such an important plus for us, for our potential tourist industry and boating, and it gives us an inner-city water park that is very good for us. So.
You are quite right to highlight that. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Who's in the room with us, too?
Well, I noticed
Yes.
the instigator of this rowing club right there, Kevin Donnelly. Congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Donnelly. And we've done a waterfront plan, of course, as you know. And there's a lot of interest in that area and that zone, and a lot of people are looking forward to this really working out. So congrats. All in favor? Carried.
Next session is the reports from standing special committees of council.
Any reports from standing committees? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have to say that we're planning something pretty big down at the Future Arts and Culture Center. For June 7th, we've had some pretty significant art donated to us, and we're going to have an auction. So the evening of Friday, June 7th, please come to the bank, and Flora Dumichel will be our auctioneer. It'll be a pretty exciting night and a good fundraiser for the infrastructure, for the rebuild of the bank building.
Anything else? No? Next item, Madam Clerk?
The unfinished business listing for May 13th, and we're looking for a motion that council receive this listing.
Councillor Grant? Councillor Bergeron, is that a scratching or a? It's a beard scratching? Do you want a second? No. Councillor Towndale?
Sure.
All in favor? Thank you.
And we have our confirming bylaw 61, which is a bylaw to adopt, ratify, and confirm the proceedings of council this evening on May 13, 2019.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Bennett. All in favor? All right. Before you leave, a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to turn to the CAO. I just want to say to people out there, to the thousands of people watching tonight, so these were distributed in the ad bag, and I know some of you, hopefully not too many of you, may have recycled it. There are still many available at all city facilities. So they replace the calendar around recycling, garbage pickup, yard leaf waste. So it's crucial. They have all the tax information as well. Rather than us sending it out with your tax bill, we've put it in here. So if you have not kept your copy, there are many, many available. Library, civic complex, lots of places, city facilities. The other thing, June is going to be very busy for this council. We are aware, and we've all been informed, that we're going to do some team building on June 8th. We're going to do some strategic planning on June 26th. And we're going to be meeting with Mohawk Council of Akwesasne on June 19th, We are going to be hosting. We're still figuring out where, but we're going to be doing food and location, and they've agreed to come and meet with us on that evening. So please keep those dates in your calendars because June is going to be very busy. Now, I want to end the meeting by turning it over to Madam CAO on the situation at the complex. Just update us on what's happening and what's next.
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So some might not be aware, but on Friday afternoon at about 2:20, 2:30, the power went out at the Civic Complex. And through that power outage, when the power came back on, we also had some problems with our transformer. And there was a transformer that blew. Our fire services responded to the site. But as a result of that, the Civic Complex was without power from that point through until late this morning or midday today. The repair to the transformer, the part that is required, is likely going to take 8 to 12 weeks to acquire. In the interim, the city has brought in a generator that will service the building in its entirety. The generator is up and running. Municipal offices were open this afternoon, and the aquatic center, I believe that we're still doing a review with respect to the pool and the conditions inside. The ice was to be removed today in the complex anyway for the summer season. But I think I would like to just ask Mr. Wallow if he would like to maybe speak to the timing of the aquatic center and whether or not that might open tomorrow.
Thank you. It was a very good summary by Ms. Adams. The aquatic center remains probably the only item that we still have not put in full operation. It is really more of a mechanical correction that needs to be put in place that is the result of what has occurred. The pool is in very good condition, etc. However, we would like to announce that we're going to be opening it in the morning. However, we can't do that right now, and so the safest thing for us to do is to let people know tomorrow, this evening, that the pool will not be open tomorrow. But we have expectations that it will be corrected tomorrow. And so, as the CAO pointed out, all other operations at the Civic Complex are currently in full operation. We have a temporary fix for electricity as that is provided by the generator. However, a full correction will take weeks. However, we don't expect that there will be interruption of any of the requirements. Thankfully, to some extent, we did take the ice out, and that is a big load on the requirements. But we expect that we'll be able to provide all service to all of the users of the aquatic center and Civic Complex. The aquatic center hopefully after tomorrow, and of course all of the rest is ongoing.
Okay, so the pool should be open Wednesday?
Well,
But we'd ask people to check the website for that information?
I know Ms. Gibault, who's the aquatics coordinator, is notifying people this evening that it will not be operational tomorrow. I think that's really just the safest thing to do, because she was kind of hoping for midday, but I think it would be prudent to just say that we can't have it tomorrow. We have a company that's ongoing work there, and hoping to have things corrected by hopefully tomorrow.
Okay.
So, but again, all other operations at the complex are ongoing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Gardner?
I'd just like to know what the financial implications are, or do we know? I mean, who owns the equipment that broke down? Do we or is Hydro?
So the transformer that's at the back of the building is Cornell Electric's transformer. However, the failure that occurred is the feed from the transformer to the building. And so it's very likely that it's our responsibility. However, we're of course working with our insurance company and so on to make sure that what can be covered will be covered.
And for the other part that's running it now, what are the financial implications of that? Is that a rental at our cost?
Right. So I I believe what will happen is all costs will be provided to the insurance company, and the insurance company will answer as to whether it's applicable or not.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your patience around that, but thank you for that information, Mr. Boileau, Madam CEO. Motion to adjourn? Councillor Hébert and Councillor McDonald. Thank you.
No, you guys are a very capable group.